And now, podcasting from the sun-scorched desert Southwest, weighing in at a combined total of 340 pounds, Brad Winchester, Tyler McDowell-Blanken, are Gimmick Infringement.
Welcome, everybody, to the Gimmick Infringement podcast. I am Brad Winchester, and with me is my tag team partner, Tyler McDowell-Blanken. Tyler, my voice is still recovering. I know I did some yelling yesterday during Elimination Chamber. What a weekend for professional wrestling. How are you today?
Yeah, you got that right. We have so much to discuss. I am doing well, man. It's so great to see you here. And yeah, what a week of wrestling. We have Elimination Chamber. We have Battle in the Valley. You and I are attending AEW for the first time this coming week. So there's a lot to be optimistic about. I know we have some matches and maybe some segments we were a bit critical of. So just can't wait for the conversation. And like I said, it's just wonderful to see you as always. How are you, my man?
I'm doing well outside of the stuff that I'm still kind of dealing with after COVID. It just seems to be just hanging on. Although I feel pretty good physically. Long week, as you know. Lots of things have happened in the last 4, 5, 6 days. It's just a crazy time. This is the time of year. If you are an educator, if you're listening to this and you're a teacher, or if you're a student, third quarter, man. Third quarter is just the drizzling shits. It's like we have we are in Yeehaw Central out here in Arizona. We have in the Upper Peninsula of Michigan, right before hunting season starts, we have deer days because everybody in their family is out killing animals. So they leave early to get there so they could be there for opening season. So why bother even having school? Just cancel it, make it a holiday. Same deal here. We have rodeo days. So rodeo break is Thursday and Friday of this week, and I can't wait. But the kids are feeling it. The teachers are feeling it. We're all pretty tired right now. We're all a little grumpy, and it's a tough time of the year. So I can't say enough how much I appreciate having you and GI and professional wrestling in my life. It means a lot.
Yeah, man. I know rodeo. February is just really an interesting month as an educator because we have right. So many great things. There's so many people in my life who I love dearly who have birthdays in February. Obviously, we know February is Black History Month. Mm-hmm. It is the shortest month of the year, unfortunately. But as an educator, it seems like February can just tend to drag on. So I'm happy you get these 2 days at the end of the week. But yeah, man, I hope you're hanging on there, and I can't believe it's already going to be March, right? And I think, once March hits, it can be long, but you get to spring break. And then from there, it just seems like it's a race to the finish line and a race to graduation. So I'm so excited for you. I can't believe it's almost another year in the books, but I know you're doing great things. And shout out to everyone at Miranda, man. I miss that place often.
Yeah, it's weird because fourth quarter it's really fast. And at the same time, there are no breaks. There's holidays, just no day offs. It's just all of April. And we started later this year. So we're finishing later this year. Late May. I think graduation is my birthday, May 24th.
Oh, let's go.
Which means I think May 25th is the last day of school with kids because I believe graduation's Wednesday. And then our final day will be May 26th, which will be probably the primary moving day for me. Moving rooms for the first time in about a decade. I think I moved in trying to do my math here. I always have to start at the beginning of my career, 7, 8, 9, 10, 10, 11. So 11, 12, 12, 13, I was in J21, your old stomping grounds.
J21, yes.
So yeah, it'll be a decade. This year is 10 years in J10.
Taking your talents to the library.
Yeah.
Which is a nice room. The location is interesting because you don't get the traffic, right? And I think I enjoy the traffic and saying hi to folks.
Yeah.
But the room is nice. Quicker access to the restroom. Like there are some benefits. No.
Oh, I'll say this. Like there's a door that's real close to mine, and I will be the first one in that car on the way out.
And you have extremely close proximity to the parking lot. See, man, this is not all bad. I would love to have you. I would love to have you still in the J wing amongst your English peers, and that's where folks know you. But if anyone can handle that library classroom, I think I'm looking at him.
Yeah, and today I'm repping GI. I wore this to school, and they're like, "What's that shirt? What is that shirt about?" It's like, well, I can't talk to you about it now, but if you want to come in after school, happy to have the conversation.
Come back
Because
as
they all
mentor.
want to know. They know that we do this, but I don't want to spend class time talking about it. I feel like that violates several conflict of interest clauses that probably exist.
Listen,
Um,
man, it's all fun and games till you end up on Snapchat,
yeah,
right? Like
exactly right.
we know how this works. The phones
Yeah.
just somehow miraculously come out, and then you're on you're popular
Oh, and
online.
don't get me wrong. I've played plenty of wrestling promos in my class this year. Most of them pertaining to mental health, but every once in a while, the Macho Man, cream of the crop, it has to come out. It
It's a
has to be
must.
shown. Yeah.
It's a must.
Um,
Gratuitous bicep
yes.
shots as well. That shirt
Speaking
is
of,
2 sizes too small.
yeah,
It's great. Love Macho. That
yeah,
shirt is just like,
you stole it
man,
from a child. Yeah. Yeah.
clearly you just had bicep day and wanted
Yeah.
to accentuate your muscles there. I respect
100%.
it. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, 100%. Speaking of merch, the merch store will be updated shortly. The old plastic wrap logo, this logo, which doesn't look super clear on the merch, is coming down. Our old logo will be going up, and our new logo, the mask logo, will be going up. So I'm excited to see what kind of merch options we have and how that'll change if you're interested in those things. I am. I'm surely going to be spending money on things in the near future. But before we get to that, Tyler, we have to discuss this insane weekend of professional wrestling, specifically just yesterday. Yesterday was how many hours? 8.
I lost count. Yes,
Yeah.
my eyes were getting heavy after Elimination Chamber.
Yep.
Hence my delay in texting. I was like, oh, I woke up and it's the end of Chamber, and I need to get with my senses to watch New Japan Battle in the Valley. Yeah, it was nuts, man. We knew heading into it that we had 2 shows, but Elimination Chamber was, I think, particularly the ending was so emotional, and dare I say emotionally draining, that I have to be honest with you. I'm going to get on my grown man or old man like vibe here. I was a little spent after that 3-hour show in Montreal.
I was too. 100% with you. Let's talk about the show.
And now, it's time to talk WWE.
The show itself, I thought, was great. I thought it was a really solid PLE. I don't really have complaints about the show as a whole outside of like that one match and that one finish, or DQ finish, if we will. But I'm also okay with it at the same time. So it's, yeah, I have a lot of thoughts about that. I thought the women's elimination chamber was a ton of fun. I thought that match was great. There were people that were complaining, I saw online, about the star power inside of it. Whatever, dude. That match was fun. That was a good match. I thought they made Raquel in her loss look really strong. And I think the right person won. It's the person we wanted to see win to face Bianca at Mania. We're getting Dark Asuka against Bianca. Sign me right the hell up. That match is going to be either opening one of the nights or closing one of the nights. I demand nothing less. Like, it has to happen.
100%. Couldn't agree with you on all the above.
As far as the rest of the card goes, I'm trying to think of like what really stood out outside of, man, the chamber match. The men's chamber match was incredible. Probably one of the best they've ever done. That match was great. Johnny Gargano came out looking better. Montez got single star shine.
Yep. This kind of reminded me of that NXT TakeOver ladder match. I think this was from New Orleans a few years back. That was the 6-man to crown the first ever North American champion.
Yeah.
Adam Cole ended up winning, but it was Adam Cole. I'm going to throw some names at you, some very problematic. Lars Sullivan, Velveteen Dream, not problematic. Ricochet, EC3, kind of somewhere in the middle.
Yeah.
And there was someone else I think that I'm forgetting now. But point being, I remember that match having so many great competitors. And at that time, obviously, again, we thought they were pretty good dudes outside of the ring. But everyone in that match got shine. The men's chamber match from this past weekend reminded me of that because, like you said, Brad, every single person looked good. Yeah. I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, I believe Bronson Reed may have been the first eliminated. But I would argue...
Yeah, I think so.
I would argue, aside from Theory, who won, that Bronson Reed probably looked the best. He looked like a monster, and it took
Everybody,
several dudes to
basically,
beat.
yeah.
Yeah, several dudes to beat.
Super kick after super kick
Yes.
after this, after that, like four finishers in a row.
Yeah, I this is early favorite for my match of the year. It was just incredible. Seth Rollins did his thing. Montez Ford, first time we've seen him in a major singles title match. I take that back. We saw him against Roman Reigns on an episode of SmackDown, but this one felt different. This felt like we very well could be ushering in Montez Ford as a singles wrestler.
Yeah.
So he got his shine. I don't know how I feel about The Rock cosplay. I'm certain that Montez can craft his own arsenal. I wasn't really loving the rock bottom and people's elbow. I don't know that him and the Rock have any sort of tangible relationship. So I have to admit that was a little bit strange.
Yeah, it was
but
weird.
like you said, Gargano was great. Everyone in this match just really delivered. It was the great cast of characters. I thought this was incredible.
Yeah, I thought it was great. There were some great moments in there. That Gargano spot off the top of the cell with Seth. My God, there was stuff, Montez hanging from the ceiling. Like all of that stuff was so crazy. I love it. There were people complaining about the pads on the outside of the Elimination Chamber. Like, I want to see them be able to do another one. Like, why are you complaining about this?
Oh yeah.
No, I complain.
Yeah, I didn't even know that complaint was out there. That's just so absurd. I didn't mention this guy, but I think he was phenomenal as well. Damian Priest probably has my favorite offense in all of WWE. I thought even he looked like $1 million. And
the Overtaker.
He looked so good. I love what he was doing. The spots were snug. Do you remember that moment where Gargano and Rollins were at the top of one of the pods?
Yes.
And Rollins looked like he was going to powerbomb Gargano.
Yeah.
And Gargano flipped into a Hurricane Rana.
That's what I'm talking about. That's what I was talking about. Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you. That was, we got to talk about it again. That was just so gnarly. That was gnarly. Very dangerous.
Yes.
Crazy.
Like certain death on all fronts. Like,
yeah, I missed when you said that. I think I was so focused on the NXT comparison. Good call by you. That was one of those moments. And just the moment before that, when they're both sitting on the cell together and they have their little moment. And then it's just like, and then just Seth just chopped him. Yes. It was like, all right, well, absolutely. Here we go. I thought that was great. We got to see them beat up on Austin Theory a bit, which was funny. So it checked a lot of boxes for me.
Actually, when I was looking at it, once Austin Theory was entered into the match, I thought, well, if this is for the title, they're going to have Austin Theory go over here. It made the most sense with him in it. I'm kind of fine with that. Like, I kind of like him as US champion right now. It made him, like he beat all of these people that are in there. I don't know what's next. Now that all of those folks have been in the Elimination Chamber, I don't know who the next person would be. Maybe a returning Shinsuke tomorrow or something. I don't really know who you put into that spot, but I would love to see Shinsuke be up for the main title or main titles at some point rather than that. But I don't know. I don't know what you do next with that belt. And with Austin, since he's already kind of fought everybody here and beaten everybody here, who's next? Who do you think is next for him?
Mm-hmm. It's John Cena, in my opinion. To me,
for Mania.
Yeah, there's so many rumblings that Cena's going to be back for Mania, and if he is, I remember months ago we were debating, okay, could it be a match against LA Knight or Gunther or even Austin Theory? Austin Theory makes the most sense, in my opinion. Now, if that happens, though, I think on last week's GI, I was fantasy booking Cena versus Jay White on the Raw after Mania for the U.S. title, and Jay White wins. But if we are, in fact, going to get Cena versus Theory at Mania, I honestly think that Theory winning is the better move. You want to establish
what has to be
with this second run. I don't know that I want Cena going over and then just to drop it to, again, in my mind, a returning Jay White. I actually believe Theory getting the Cena match and Theory going over would be the right call for all parties involved.
I completely agree. I think physically they look like very similar.
Yes, they do.
He's got like the same giant forearms that merge into a huge wrist into like giant just meat hammers for fists. Like the dude is just yoked upper body, giant legs. Like they just look very similar. If you put wristbands on Austin Theory, he looks the same. It's crazy.
Give some wristbands and the jorts. A little
Yeah,
hat
put
too.
some jorts. Yep.
Yeah, they do. No,
So
they do. They really do.
physically, I'm not even just saying like they look alike as white dudes, but I'm just saying like physique wise, they have kind of the same physique. They look like they're modeled after each other. And Theory is underrated. Like, I get people don't like him and that maybe he was pushed too fast, all that, but everybody hates him for it. And that's great. Like, isn't that the point? Make us feel. So I'm here for it. I think he's a great talent. I'm happy to see that he won, even though there are other people that I would have loved to see. But I don't know what a Johnny Gargano U.S. title run looks like. I don't know that I want to see Damian Priest win again for a while. Anyway, I can see him going for the main title. Bronson Reed, okay. Montez, sure. I'd rather see him get. I'd rather see him go for the big belt. Just skip all the mid card stuff, but maybe they don't feel like he has enough experience yet. But and I don't want to see that happen yet anyway. That's probably a year away, but at least Rollins, he just had it. So just looking at the people that were in there, there are a couple people that could benefit. Johnny Wrestling could have benefited, Montez could have benefited, and Bronson Reed could have benefited, but maybe they do another thing in the future here. Maybe Montez and Austin Theory have a match or something. But I'm with you. I think Cena at Mania makes a ton of sense.
It does. And Logan Paul, this match was amazing, as I established earlier. Logan Paul playing a role in the finish was very predictable. If Seth was going to lose, you knew it wasn't going to be clean. So Logan Paul, so we have apparently a worked injury spot for Montez Ford. So that means a lot of the officials and refs are preoccupied. Logan Paul is able to take advantage of that, interfere. I'm not a big Logan Paul fan, as you may have heard, Brad, but his buckshot lariat is super impressive. So he interferes.
Sure is.
He hits this fantastic buckshot, maybe even better than Hangman. I can't believe I'm speaking that into existence. He hits this great buckshot lariat on Seth, followed by a stomp. Austin Theory pins Seth 1, 2, 3, and then we get out of here. So not only are we getting Austin Theory carrying the U.S. title, presumably into Mania, right move, but we're also solidifying that the Seth Rollins match at WrestleMania is one of prominence. He's going to take on Logan Paul. I just hope with every fiber in me that Seth defeats Logan Paul at Mania. I think Logan Paul is due for a big win at some point soon. I just hope it's not in SoFi Stadium.
You know, the Logan Paul buckshot thing, it looked really good. I'm not putting it above Hangman's. Hangman doesn't hesitate when he lands. He just keeps his momentum going. And
that's fair.
There was a little stop and then leap forward.
And then launch. Yeah.
Yeah. It looked amazing. Don't get me wrong, but it was like a launching lariat more than a buckshot lariat. And I'm here for it because it looked great either way. If that's his finishing move, awesome. Amazing. Like let's have that be his finishing move. I think he's great. I really like Logan Paul in the spot because everybody hates him. Like Seth, that's going to be such a great moment when Seth eventually curb stops him into the floor and Logan sells his ass off for it. I imagine he'll be doing some twitching afterward, and
I hope so.
Oh, it's going to be so good. I can't wait.
You're so right about the fan reaction though. When Logan Paul first entered WWE, he was being positioned as a babyface. This is a guy that we want to root for. He's X, Y, and Z. And I think some fans were excited to see him, but it seems like over the last few months, even with the Roman feud, and Roman is a mega heel, the crowd is really, really solidified. No, we do not like Logan Paul. We can acknowledge that he has athletic gifts, but he's not someone we're going to cheer for as a babyface. So seeing Seth, like you said, get the chorus of fans at Mania, whereas Logan Paul will probably be booed out of the stadium, that'll be awesome. I just hope they do the right thing and have Seth go over. I don't think this is the time for, I know we'll get into this, a month from now, but I just hope this isn't the time where Logan gets that signature win. I know it'll come at some point later this year, maybe SummerSlam, but please don't have it be in LA.
So the next match we should talk about lasted 4 minutes and 45 seconds, and that's Bobby Lashley versus Brock Lesnar. I hated that it was a DQ finish, but we knew that this was going to happen. I would have been shocked that it was either Brock was going to win in a short match or that it was going to get disqualified. I don't think they can't have Bobby lose to Brock during Black History Month. So I think that what's going to happen next is that because of the the killing of the refs and because of the cheating and because of all of this, we're going to get some Brock attacking after a suspension, and that'll eventually reform the Hurt Business. And then maybe we get a babyface Brock Lesnar versus a heel Hurt Business Bobby Lashley, who's just very straight, dead faced, killing people again. Give that to me. That Bobby was the best Bobby. Nobody can convince me otherwise. That championship run was way too damn short. It was so good, Tyler. Like, I want that in front of fans. I think he will be a heel and nobody will care that he's a heel. He'll get cheered anyway. I think it'll be like Roman before the Sammy turn, right? I think that Roman will just be so awesome that he'll come out and he'll be cheered. I think once the Sammy story is over, he'll start being cheered again because he's in the bloodline. I don't know if that'll be true. We'll see what happens, but I can see Bobby being a heel and being cheered anyway.
I would love that. What I did not love was this match at Elimination Chamber.
Pretty rough.
I texted you this. Every match that Brock has had since maybe 2017 has felt so formulaic and so similar to me. I will confess that when his music plays, it's unlike any other entrance. You have a tangible this feeling that stuff's about to go down. So I give him credit, first ballot Hall of Famer, all the accolades. But the Brock matches, the mash the suplex button on your controller, F5, doesn't do anything for me. And the fact that I can't get this out of my mind, Brad. The fact that Brock low blows Bobby, massive cheers from the audience, and then he ends up F5ing a fellow employee
twice,
of the WWE, twice, the referee, for the referee simply just doing his job. You can't low blow somebody in this match. You're disqualified. Brock F5s him. Massive cheers again. What are we doing? This is a bad guy by those actions. So I was struggling to get on board with the Montreal crowd because these are not actions to be cheered. So I was all the way out on this match. I'm not sure what this is going to lead to at Mania. Again, so much of this is me thinking about, well, what's the end goal? What is this going to lead to in a month? I don't really have a desire to see them again. If this ends up resulting in the Hurt Business reforming, then I can be all the way here for it. But I didn't love this at all, and I don't understand why we're cheering Brock for these nefarious actions, other than we like to see him wreck people, which I get is not new.
I think that's the part. It's so I was thinking about that too. Like, why are they doing that reaction? I think this is you can't be a heel anymore. He can't be. He's just never going to be he'll never be a heel again because he's part-time. He's done everything several times over, really. Right? Like, what is Brock got left to do in his career other than be there, be an obvious future first ballot Hall of Famer and kill people with an F5 or do crazy Brock Lesnar stuff? And I love it. I love that he's doing promos. I love he's doing all of that stuff. But I think it's kind of like Randy. Randy can come back and do terrible things. People want to see him on his last run, and they're going to cheer him. If he RKOs Sami Zayn in the middle of the ring, they're still going to cheer because it's an RKO from Randy Orton. So I think he might be stuck in that position. I also think, like, charisma-wise, on-screen presence-wise, it's Brock. It's not Bobby. It's just not. And that's going to get over every single time. But Hurt Business Bobby was different. Like, when Bobby came out in the suit the other night with the contract and was like, I'm not signing it. We don't do things on your time. You don't run stuff around here. That's the Bobby that I've wanted back ever since.
Me too. It's
been like a year plus since we've seen that Bobby. Yeah, this is an obvious transition into more heelish stuff, but I don't know that people will care. I think people will still be doing the bump in the crowd. I still think that's going to happen.
Yeah.
And God, just give it to me now. I need them to come back, Tyler. I need it so damn badly. I need it like I need water.
It's too good to not happen, in my opinion. I really hope we get that. The Hurt Business, just one of those acts in wrestling that was taken away from us way too soon. There was still So much left to be done with that group, and if we live in a world that I want to live in, we'll definitely have your plans come true, and we'll reform this group. Their money, sell all the merch, and Lashley is just he's also a future first ballot Hall of Famer. I know Brock obviously gets a lion's share of the attention, but Bobby's been tremendous in this run since leaving Impact and coming back to WWE. He's been everything we could have wanted and more.
Yep, absolutely agree. The next match is a match that we probably won't spend a lot of time talking about, but Edge and Beth Phoenix beat the Judgment Day, Finn Balor, Rhea Ripley. I don't really care about most of this match. What I cared about was the standoff between Beth and Rhea. We finally got that. I felt like a lot of the match delivered for me with the Beth and Rhea stuff. Obviously, Beth hasn't wrestled the full match in a really, really, really long time, and there was some rust there. But there were some issues with timing, and there was one spot right in the beginning where it was a run across the ring where Rhea was in the ropes, and Beth was like, "Is this a spot I'm supposed to do stuff?" And there was some hesitation, and then she just kind of punched Rhea in the face, and I was like, "Well, I guess that works." At least it ended with something. I don't know if there's something there, and there was a few moments like that.
There was the 2 count that should have been a 3 count later, much later in the match.
I mean, luckily Edge had the wherewithal to at least get his shoulder up, even if it was like while 3 hit the mat. And I did see some valid criticism online that said that if that was Aubrey Edwards, the internet would have erupted about how bad AEW is and stuff. It's like, you just did that in front of millions of people. It's not a good look, friends. It's not a good look, but that stuff is going to happen. We get it. We can still hang with it, and the ref can make a call. Who cares? It's professional wrestling, for God's sake. But I really enjoyed the finish. I enjoyed the glam slam on the outside, and the way Rhea just had like the dead stare in her eyes when she took it was great.
Awesome.
Yeah, I really enjoyed this match. I really enjoyed Dom in the match. I thought all of that was really fun. I'm surprised Ray didn't come out to stop Dominic, to be honest with you, but I thought it was fun. It was fun. I had no problems with it. It was just fun.
For sure. Rhea versus Beth was fantastic. I'm so excited to see this Rhea Championship 2.0 reign. I'm so happy for her that she has this character now. It's not just her being a smiley badass. Her character is defined. She has the mommy gimmick going on.
Yep.
Her second reign, presumably her beating Charlotte at WrestleMania.
If she doesn't, there'll be a riot.
I'm yes, indeed. From you first and foremost, and then probably a majority of the fan base. I'm so excited to see what she does with gold around her waist. And the match finish was not surprising to me. I really thought Edge, being the hometown guy, home country guy, and his lady Beth were for sure going to go over.
Yeah.
I'm a little curious as to what this means for Finn. A bit sad that going into WrestleMania, we don't have a clear path for him. I would not be shocked if he's not on the card. Maybe him and Damian Priest are escorting Rhea or escorting Dom, and that's how they get on the show. Because we know for sure Dom versus Ray is going to happen, right?
Yeah, it has to. That has to be one on there. Yeah.
So if we're going into WrestleMania and Dom has a marquee match, but not Finn Balor, that I'm going to feel a little heartbroken.
Well, what do you do with Priest as well? Damian just lost the Elimination Chamber. Finn just lost at Elimination Chamber.
They're probably not going to have a match on the card.
Probably not. And I don't know what you do with them storyline wise after this anyway.
Yeah. Well, and then if Rhea ends up leaving the Judgment Day, we've seen she's been unhappy with Dom being a cheapskate.
Yeah.
If she ends up leaving them, does that mean that that's the first sign of the Judgment Day cracking?
Or? I would be really happy if House of Purple broke up, to be honest with you. Like I want the Prince back.
Me too.
This is fine. Like this run for Finn has been fine. It's been fun to watch. But I also know that he wants to go back to do that. I think he's not done with the demon yet. I think there could be some stuff in there, and hear me out before you say anything, because I know what you'll say. It might be really easy to have the switch flipped just by having him feud with Bray again. And we know that did no favors for him at the first matchup in 2019, but they had already dropped the demon gimmick at that point anyway. So maybe this is a reason to bring it back. Maybe he gets messed up and the demon returns and that transitions him right out of the group. I mean, they did it with Alexa. Alexa was a baby face until she started losing her shit because of Bray. And then she had that match against Bianca and then evaporated. We don't know where she is. I have no idea where she is.
Yeah, that's an adverb. It did seem like that.
Yeah, so we'll see what happens, but I'm with you. I'm not really sure what you do there. I'm not super sure what you do with Edge. You could presume he's going to be at WrestleMania, but doing what? I don't know. He did say that he's going to be contending for the U.S. Championship on Monday, so we'll see what happens there. My guess is that we'll get interference from somebody that will likely be the Edge feud going forward.
That's a great
probably not somebody in House of Purple, but we'll see what happens after that.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay, it's time at 30 minutes to finally talk about the main event. This is an all-timer. This is one of the greatest main events in WWE history. It just is. From a match perspective, they told a story throughout the whole thing. It was the babyface getting beat up. We got our comeback. Nope, it's not the comeback. Getting beat up. We got a comeback. Nope, it's not the comeback. Getting beat up. Oh, it's the comeback. It's finally the comeback. He's on top. Interference. Ref bump city. Several of them. I like that they made Sammy look really strong by having to have interference and super kicks and chairs and all the other stuff to stop him. I really hated that all of that stuff had to happen. It really took as soon as interference started happening, I was like, I would have rather have Roman win clean and not have the bloodline involved whatsoever. And I know they're like, well, everybody's like, oh, they're trying to tell the story. It's going to be the KO and Sami Zayn for the titles. Like, yeah, we've been knowing this. Like, we've known this for years. I feel like at this point, we get it. Great. KO just sort of stood there and they looked at each other and he got out of the way so that Sammy could haluva kick Roman's head off. But if that kick knocked him out, why didn't it in the match? Like I had some stuff going on there and everybody's saying like, yes. And I know you included, Cody is the right move for the company. Cody Roman is the right move for the company. Sami Zayn is a victim of bad timing. And that's because they needed a story at Elimination Chamber. So they told the Sammy story. When it first happened, we said, wow, this is happening kind of fast, right? Like I would have rather had seen Sami Zayn versus Roman Reigns after Mania. Whatever the pape is after that. He loses the match. Yeah, because put Sammy out for 2 months or something and then have him come back. Like he took an absolutely hellacious beating. And I was thinking about this on the buildup. I was like, this is a great story. And it has legs, but like Roman would have had nuclear I killed Sammy heat going into the Cody story. And maybe even Sammy gets involved and helps cost Roman the titles against Cody. And that's when he returns. They just play his music and Sammy comes out and Roman gets distracted and Cody crossroads him into oblivion. And I don't know. There's just better stuff because Sammy versus Roman didn't have to have the titles on the line. The story needed to be on the line. So instead we have Sammy versus Roman for the titles. And we're like, well, we know Sammy's going to lose because they're definitely going to have Cody and Roman at Mania. So I don't think that this story was told incorrectly. I think that this storyline was told too quickly. So I think this is the only outcome that made sense for Mania, but they're booking it for Mania, not for the story. And that's the part that pissed me off. I'm like, Sammy should have won. Everybody wanted Sammy to win. We needed Sammy to win because now it's going to set him up for this secondary honor of winning this title. Everybody said like, oh, he wants to win the tag championships with KO. He wants to have that match with KO. He wants to have a match with Jay or Jimmy or whoever. We heard them say that in an interview. You know what else he said? That he would like to hold the title someday. So you can't just say like, oh, he said he wanted to do these things. He also said he wants to be champion. So what do you say to that, friends? So I don't get that. I thought the wrong decision was made for the right reasons. That's my feeling on it. Because this should have been a Sammy night, a Sammy victory, a Sammy win. If Cody was still injured, never would have happened. Sammy would have won. If Cody wasn't in the company, Sammy would have won. If this happened after Mania, Sammy would have won. But it happened a month before Mania, and that would kill the Cody steam. I don't know how fans are going to react to Cody now. They might be upset that Sammy didn't win, and they might take their frustrations out on Cody. We saw that happen on the buildup, right? Like we saw them booing because Roman said Cody deserves his attention and Sammy doesn't. And it's just, I don't know. We'll see what happens. Cody Rhodes is more of a face of a company than anybody, right? Like Roman is the face. Cody is definitely going to be the one to take over. He has to be. That story is great. But I said this to you in the text and a bunch of other people as I see texts popping up on my screen about I'm not mad about people thinking Sammy should have won, but it's like, just get all the way the fuck out of here with that. I'm so tired of that stuff. People defending that. Like, yes, he should have won. Yes, Roman should have won so we could have the Cody story told out. But that Cody story is not about Cody and Roman. That Cody story is about Cody and the belt. And the belt his dad never got. This story is about Sammy and Roman, not about a belt, which is a WWE booking decision that happened. I don't get it. Like, I thought it was, I don't know. I'm disappointed that they went with that because I'm afraid like all that momentum that Sammy had is just gonna gone. And that moment they'll get at Mania will be great when they win the tag belts. I think it's going to be awesome. But after that, I don't know. The same thing for Sammy winning the championships. What do you do with Sammy after that? Which is why I think the Sammy Roman story should have ended without belts on the line. Sammy could win. We get that huge moment for Sammy, and then it doesn't derail the company's plans. So I understand why people are saying that the right person won. You're right. For Mania, the right person won. For that championship going forward, the right person won. It shouldn't have been Sammy. Sammy shouldn't have been put in that position. That's all I'm saying.
Wow. Well, insert multiple fire emojis. First of all, that was extremely comprehensive. I'll say this. Based on how Clash at the Castle ended, I didn't give Sammy much of a shot. So in terms of Sammy just losing the match was not a shocker for me. I saw some in the community maybe giving him a 30 to 40% chance of winning, a huge what if. I was maybe 5 to 10%. I didn't think it was happening. In terms of the booking of the match,
they sold me on it though.
They did.
Oh,
we knew they would.
Yeah. Yeah.
I thought it was so overbooked though. Like you said, the multiple ref bumps, the Jay and Jimmy coming out, and then Sammy ends up accidentally spearing Jay. So Jay still hasn't really chosen a side, but it seems like he's siding with Sammy. It was just all too much for me. And then this was just pro wrestling at its finest, or maybe the opposite, where the refs are down, and then Roman ends up getting a chair from Paul Heyman, hits Sammy several times. I think he may have speared Sammy after that, right?
Yeah,
and then
that's how he got the win.
And then he pins Sammy, and miraculously, Brad, one of the refs comes back from near death. The ref just pops up, crawls back in the ring. 1, 2, 3. This is not the first time we've seen something like that happen. It's pro wrestling after all, but I think the overbooking really did this story a huge disservice. And then as you laid out, KO comes back at the end. Not a huge surprise. I believe you and I predicted that this is what was going to occur. But for the fans at home, like us, but most importantly in Montreal, for them not to have that cathartic moment of Sammy and Kevin hugging it out and establishing that they are together. So, like you said, KO just slides out of the way. Sammy hits the haluva kick on Roman. And then Kevin awkwardly gets out of the ring and walks away. And we're kind of left in limbo. We think they're going to form a tag team, but it's not definitive yet. I thought that was a major slip up. At least give the fans KO and Sammy officially reuniting. Not doing that was super curious. And it really did the story a disservice. The match was great. I mean, Roman and Sammy just staring at each other for 4 to 5 minutes and the crowd just eating it up. F you Roman chants everywhere. Total
so good.
One of our favorite words on GI. Total spectacle.
Yeah.
The booking of it really took me out though.
Yeah, I'll say this. I think you're spot on with that stuff. I think that they're probably trying to tell the story leading up to that match a little bit more to have some Sammy KO segments where we see them kind of repair that relationship. I'm sure that's what it's going to be, but Tyler, I swear to God, if Jay wants to fight Sammy now because of what was clearly an accident, it's going to be the laziest, most incomprehensibly stupid booking in the entire history of professional wrestling. It drives
Not
me
hyperbole.
bonkers.
I would also be furious. That would be so. And I think there's at least a 50% chance that happens.
Yeah, it's
I
almost a
really
guarantee.
like. They're just Jay cannot just rewind the footage and see that it was clearly an accident and Sammy felt bad. I hope that's not the route they take, but it's very possible.
It feels like that's where we're headed, and
I think
I'm
so.
going to be real upset if that's what it is. I don't, because it doesn't make any sense.
It's lazy,
It doesn't make any sense at all. Also, like, why would did KO? Are we going to get an explanation from KO saying I got out there as soon as I could? I was over at Tim Hortons and got to the building late. So
It's
if I
true.
would have
The
been here
timing,
5 minutes earlier, I could have helped
yeah.
you. But
The timing. I have some questions about
I was
KO's
getting some
timing there.
coffee at Tim Hortons. My bad. My bad. I had to get this Canadian shirt. I had to, I had to come.
It's a nice shirt.
What?
So true on
It's
your
great.
part, though. So true.
It's just like you're right though. Like I would have liked that moment at the end. As far as the match of the story goes, I'll say that I thought it was perfect. Except for the end, the overbooking. I'm with you. I don't like the post-match heat stuff because it's like if you're able to get up after that, why weren't you able to get up during the match? Some of that stuff never makes sense to me. It's like, all right, Sammy's able to get up and do a haluva kick after wobbling in the corner. And he was selling the whole time. It was great. Like Sammy's so good. So good. So is KO. They're all incredible. Everybody that's been involved in this story has been incredible.
Absolutely.
But
Paul Heyman taking a stunner. Did not have that on my bingo card.
no, the punches. The
Yeah,
punches to the back were great.
And then I love this is just an aside. You made me think of something when you said everyone involved is so good. I popped for Paul Heyman telling KO, I always wanted to be with you, Kevin. Forget about Roman. I wanted it's just masterful.
I hope that gets brought up, honestly,
Right?
as in the disintegration of the
so
bloodline.
great.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, we know where the story's going from here. It'll go to Cody. I don't know how it transitions into that outside of that one promo that we've had so far, which is why I'm worried about the Cody story. And you and I both that Cody will cut a promo. He'll cut a Cody promo. It'll start off quiet and then it'll end up with him yelling all aggressively to get the crowd fired up. And he does this thing where he'll like, ah, da, 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 da. That's always his cadence. He will like yell it really aggressively, and then he'll slow it all the way down. That's what Cody does in every promo. So whatever he says, his slow down moment will hopefully end with at WrestleMania. It's probably what it's going to be this Monday. I'm putting money on that.
It's a great impression by you.
Shoopity boppity WrestleMania. I'm hoping that we get a face-to-face this week. I don't know if that will happen. But I'm hoping we do. I'm hoping that something good comes out of this. Just worried about where it goes from here because I don't think anything will have close to the same amount of energy going into it as this did.
Yeah.
But I'll say this. If Sammy had to trade, if you asked him right now, would you trade those moments from Friday and Saturday night to be the champion? It's a guaranteed no from Sami Zayn. So Sammy got those moments, whether or not he won that belt or not. It doesn't matter. It's pro wrestling, and I get that. That's why, like storyline wise, I don't think the belts needed to be on the line for this story, because it could have just been like, I just want to end your bloodline reign. I'll show you who the real tribal chief is. That could have been all it was, and story told. I don't need the belts on the line, and then he could be the first one to pin Roman and 900 days, but he retains because the belts weren't on the line. Pinning champions I don't like, but again, after Mania, it's not that hard. Anyway.
Yeah, no doubt, man. You're
so upset.
I'm fully on board. Let's just hope that Jay, the spear situation, let's just hope that Jay doesn't turn on Sammy because of that spear. If that is not the case, I'm sure we will go another 40 minutes just on that alone next week.
I'm sure. And if this leads to an eventual Jay Roman match or Jay costing Roman the titles against Cody, you know, that feud will be fun again. Main event Jay back in the main event. Where does Jimmy's allegiances lie? What do you do with Solo? Maybe that's the end of the bloodline.
Yeah.
Or maybe they disagree to do their own thing.
I still contest that I've never seen a dude look so intimidating in a crop top. Like, it's clear that Jay's situation is unique. It's not just a muscle take, Brad. Clearly, it's a crop top. I'm not mad at it.
No.
I've just never seen a dude look so intimidating in what's clearly not a sleeveless gimmick. It's a crop top. The man is pulling it off flawlessly.
You've obviously never seen Lawrence Taylor.
That's true. LT. That's okay. LT1, Jey Uso.
Maybe Shannon Sharp. You could throw him in there too. Yeah. Like even now, Shannon Sharp in a crop top would be terrifying. And by all accounts on Dax's podcast, that Jay and Jimmy are not to be trifled with. They're the nicest people in the world, unless you make them not be the nicest people in the world. They'll fight you. So maybe that's just based on family lineage there.
Yeah, exactly. Well, speaking of fights, man, should we get into our quick thoughts on New Japan Pro Wrestling's Battle in the Valley?
Yeah, let's do it.
And now it's time to talk NJPW.
Yeah, man. So this was my first experience ordering a New Japan pay-per-view. Shout out to Fight TV. And if we look at the card, so many matches. So in terms of the standouts, Kenta is now the strong openweight champion. He beat Fred Rosser. Motor City Machine Guns were on the card. They retained. Notably, Eddie Kingston defeated Jay White. Brad, you and I were really anticipating this match. Jay White officially has to leave New Japan Pro Wrestling.
Yep.
Much speculation. Is he taking his talents to WWE? Or is he going to Jacksonville and joining AEW? That remains to be seen. Tom Lawler and Homicide had a really interesting Filthy Rules match. That was quite unique. Zack Sabre defeated Clark Connors. And even Kazuchika Okada defeated Hiroshi Tanahashi. That was actually the main event. However, our main event,
the co-main event,
what I would call the people's main event, Mercedes Moné debuted and, in fact, defeated Kairi. Mercedes is now the IWGP Women's Champion. Brad, we've been talking about this for weeks, if not months. Mercedes finally had her comeback match. She and Kairi looked fantastic. What were your thoughts on this epic match that we've been waiting for?
Classic, all-timer. Like it was for a variety of reasons. Number one, Kairi was the inaugural IWGP Women's Champion. And the second person to hold that title is Mercedes Moné. And this happened in San Jose. It co-main evented, which has never happened for women. So a bunch of history was made. We had the first and second ever IWGP Women's Champions co-main eventing a New Japan Wrestling show. And they had, if I check all of this out, out of the card, including the pre-shows and the main event with Okada and Tanahashi, the longest match of the night. It is the single reason why it was the most pay-per-view sales for a New Japan show in the United States ever. This match was great, like capital G great. I believed everything that was happening. The ring psychology was awesome, working the shoulder, working the arms, working the knees. All of those things made sense. There was a table spot that I did not anticipate. And even commentary was like, those are Japanese tables. They're different. And we thought that Kairi was taking that bump, but it turned into a Mercedes power bomb through the table. And we just had so many great moments in this match. That transition, a couple of transitions off the ropes for Mercedes into that submission hold was insane. Fluid. A couple of counters. There was the I'm going to get my feet up and counter Kairi's elbow. There was a couple of like drop kick things. There was just so many great transitions and stuff that made sense, but they were pinpoint, Tyler, like pinpoint transitions. It was incredible. And then they were doing the trying to backslide each other into the finish for the pin, and Mercedes instead turned that into her move that, well, I don't even know what it's called, but it was incredible. That my favorite spot in the match was that Kairi counter into a DDT. Oh my god,
Great
that
retweet
swinging
by you.
DDT was incredible.
That was snug.
Yeah, it sure did. Mercedes was on top of her dome piece. We also had we had a belly to belly suplex in the match in honor of her friend Bailey, who was in attendance. According to, I think it was Righteous Reg, pretty sure it was Reg that tweeted it out, but said that Bailey faked a run in during that spot, or when Kairi was taking out Mercedes, which would have been great on film, but obviously they can't record that because she's a talent with WWE. But I thought that was great. I love that Bailey was wearing the money suit, so it was all wonderful. You could see the genuine emotion in Mercedes' face, and when the 1, 2, 3 happened, she began to sob on the mat. I thought that was just great moment, man. Like, all of it was great. I thought they filmed it really well. I could see everything happening. There was no Kevin Dunn cuts, which that did happen in Elimination Chamber a couple times, where I think it was during it was a Rhea spot. I think she got thrown into the steps or something, but it cut back to Edge's face, and then we heard a thunk, and then it went back, and Rhea was on the floor. I was like, I don't know what the hell just happened. We didn't have that in this match. In the New Japan cinematography style is difficult to get used to if you're only used to certain things. But I thought this production wise was great. I thought the match itself was incredible. I thought commentary did a pretty good job. I don't know what Japanese commentary sounded like, but the English commentary team was pretty good for this. It gave me like TNA vibes for some reason.
Yeah, for the former Aiden English. I didn't realize he was going to be paired with Ian Riccoboni.
Yeah,
very good. I enjoyed it.
I thought Ian would be there, but I didn't know. I thought for sure we were getting Kevin Kelly, but maybe, I don't know, availability, the trip, because it was New Japan Strong and not the main New Japan show. So I don't know. I thought it was great. What did you think?
Yeah, everything you said and then some. This was the people's main event for a reason. Both of them look great. One of my favorite Sasha Banks matches was at the Great American Bash, NXT's Great American Bash against then Io Shirai. So I really was hopeful that now Mercedes and Kairi would have a lot of chemistry and would just put on a match of the year candidate. And they did that. I'm so happy Mercedes gets the dub. Like you said, second ever IWGP Women's Champion. And I'm really eager to see what's next for her. Hopefully this solidifies that we may see her in an AEW ring for Forbidden Door this summer if she's carrying the title that long. So if we get her in an AEW ring against, I mean, gosh, like if you could pick one opponent for her, there's at least 3 or 4 options that are just dream match worthy, whether we're talking Jade, Chris Statlander, Jamie Hayter. I'm excited for the now and then really eager to see what this could mean here in a few months. It was fantastic.
Yeah, I thought it was incredible. I thought there were so many great crowd moments. The crowd was clearly up and there for this match. I think there was a lot of that audience that was being introduced to some of these talent for the first time and didn't really know how to react. And I think a lot of the talent realized that as well. Zack Sabre Jr. was leading into it pretty hard during his match. The post-match angle with Jay White and Eddie Kingston was pretty meh. Fell flat for me. It felt cheap for me, but the crowd was loud for this match, and it was pretty great. And then it ended the night with Okada winning, speaking in English to the crowd, which I thought was really cool. I don't think I've ever heard him do that for that amount of time. I thought that was really cool. And then having Mercedes come out and Okada doing like a little Mercedes dance to her music while she was holding up the belt, while he got the belt off and they stood in the ring together. I thought was a great moment. I thoroughly enjoyed this. I thought there was some excellent wrestling on this match. I didn't really care about 80% of it, which sucks, but it's also because just time. I just don't get enough time to invest in getting to know all of these wrestlers. Although I enjoyed all of it. Anytime I get to see Kushida wrestle, I'm happy. And Kushida with Josh Alexander, starting it out was a ton of fun.
Impact Zone.
They were wrestling it was a wrestling match. It was a technical wrestling showcase when they went out there together and they were just legitimately trying to take each other to the ground. I really enjoyed all of that. I thought it was fun.
Yeah, no doubt. Well, we had a ton of wrestling this past weekend. Brad, I also had something else going on this weekend. I saw Knock at the Cabin starring former WWE champion Dave Bautista, and we happen to have a segment here on GI that shines a light on us at the movies. So if you are ready, my friend, let's go ahead and cue up that music.
And now it's time for GI at the movies.
So GI at the movies has returned. Brad, I finally saw it. It's been out for a few weeks, but I made my way to the theater. M. Night Shyamalan's Knock at the Cabin. Main star of the film, Dave Bautista. Before I get into my thoughts on this film, obviously this is not Dave Bautista's first appearance on the big screen. Curious to hear your thoughts on his filmography, if you will, to this point. Most notably, he's been in Guardians of the Galaxy. He also appeared in Netflix's Glass Onion, which we spoke about in a previous GI at the movies. So what have you thought about Dave Bautista's transition into acting so far, Brad?
I'm pulling up his IMDb right now because I wanted to look at all of the things that he's had on there. He did star in WWE Survivor Series at one point, apparently, according to IMDb. Not sure what that's about. It wasn't Army of Thieves. That's not the first one. It was Army of the Dead, I think, is the one that I was thinking of. Fine. My Spy. Do you remember My Spy?
I do remember My Spy. Great shout.
Fine. Room 104, I thought he was very good. Dune, I still haven't seen. I've been waiting to watch it with Jess. I'm dying to watch it. And then
Stuber, comedy.
Stuber.
He's versatile, right?
Yep. I didn't see it, but
it was good.
Okay.
Yeah.
I love Guardians. He's great in Guardians.
Of course. Volume 3 coming out, by the way. I saw the trailer. They played the trailer before my movie. I'm stoked for you.
Yeah, I thought there's something missing here. I feel like there's something
007 he was in years ago.
Oh, it's because I didn't click load all of them. There's a whole bunch on here. That's why. Yeah, there's Avengers. It was Blade Runner. So can't believe that was already. I can't believe that was 2017 right? Already.
Yeah. I saw that one in the theater as well. Actually, wow.
I thought he was great in that. That might be my favorite role of his, in terms of like having some depth, because that dude can act. Like he's very good, and he's getting better all the time. He's not just being typecast. Like that role he was a huge dude, but he was like sensitive science guy. And I really, really liked him in Glass Onion. I thought, what was his name? Duke Cody was a great role for him. I thought he was great in that. I don't have anything but kind things to say. I think he's the best actor that has come out of wrestling that we've seen so far. I think John Cena has been great as well, but I would put, if I'm tiering the three, and three.
It's three. It's the three. Yeah.
It's the three. Like I'm not going to put Hogan on the list. It's Batista.
Please
Batista.
No. I didn't even think about him.
No. Come on, Thunder. Dave Bautista. That's where I'm going. Number 1. Number 2, John Cena. Number 3, The Rock.
Rock's at 3.
Yeah, like he's the same character in every single thing he does. In fairness, right now, so is Cena.
Need you to see Skyscraper, my friend.
I have.
Okay.
Spot the difference.
Okay.
Didn't that come out the same? That come out the same year as Rampage, the other building falling down movie,
which was excellent. Yes, I think it did.
It was.
They were definitely
excellent?
back. They were definitely back to back. Yes.
Like the way that Sharknado was excellent.
Excellent film going experience for me. Absolutely.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, I said it, Brad. Yeah. I think putting The Rock at 3 is. I'm gonna let you cook, man. I'm gonna listen, but
Did you see Peacemaker yet?
No. In fairness, I have not. I love The Rock and Ballers, Spencer Strasmore, Agent of the Stars. These guys are all good. Knock at the Cabin. I'm going to transition us. I want to continue giving Dave Bautista his flowers. He was excellent in this film. I know you described him in a previous role as a huge dude with a sensitive side. That's basically who he was here, but probably a little more fleshed out. So he plays Leonard, a second grade teacher.
Amazing.
And he's the leader of this quartet who find this couple and their daughter, the same-sex couple, 2 men and their daughter at this cabin, and tell them the world is ending and we need you to sacrifice one of your family members to save humanity. So a pretty tall ask. I won't give away too many spoilers, but I will say the cast did really, really well. Batista really shined, I think, out of everyone. He was just great. I think this is going to become a signature role for him. Everything he did was really, really awesome. That being said, Brad, the film was so bad. You know I am here for M. Night Shyamalan. I go to see his movies. I try to support his work as much as I can. I was here for Glass. I was here for that really creepy film. I think it's Devil, where they get stuck in the elevator and then just people die.
Yeah.
I saw the movie The Beach, Old, right, where the people are stuck on the beach and then age rapidly. So here for all of them. Want to support him. He made his cameo in this film in a really ridiculous role. The film was just so bad, though. I was here for the premise. I thought the execution, especially the ending, felt really flat to me. And I left the theater thinking, I spoke with one of my friends about this, like, what was that film about? What was our takeaway message? And I don't know that we landed on a clear one. So the film was not good, but I think it's worth a watch to see Dave Bautista and company do their thing.
68% currently on Rotten Tomatoes.
That's generous.
6.4 on IMDb, 63% Metacritic. So it's passing, but it's yeah.
It wasn't good, man. It wasn't good. See it when it is streaming, hopefully soon.
Yeah,
but not worth your $10 at AMC.
So it's interesting you said that, because like there are a lot of people that were down on other movies that I liked. I probably won't like this though. I haven't really liked anything he's done since Signs.
Oh wow, we're going deep in the bag.
Well, I take that back. I did like the
Split.
I didn't like.
Jones.
I liked Split, but I didn't love Glass. I thought Glass was pretty bad, but
no.
Split was great.
Split
and that twist ending, I was like, oh my goodness.
Split was a hit, absolutely.
Yeah. So and Unbreakable was incredible, and he made that not long after Spider-Man, the original Spider-Man, where he was like, the best part of that movie was him discovering who he is and working out his powers and stuff. What if I just made a whole movie based on that part, where it was just him discovering, and not him doing superhero stuff, but him figuring out who he is? And that was basically all of Unbreakable. So I thought that was cool. I thought that movie worked. I thought that was great. And then like they call me Mr. Glass as like kind of that last thing I thought was amazing. Yeah, that movie ruled. But I liked Signs. I liked Sixth Sense. Some people don't like Signs, and I don't like those people. But I think that movie is vastly underrated as a film, as an alien movie, because it's just so hyper focused on that house. Because people were wanting to see War of the Worlds, and I'm like, why? This is so much more entertaining. How does this family survive in this tiny little place? How are they going to get out of this? And then what do we learn about Faith? And like, he used to be able to tell all of those stories, and then he went into The Lady in the Water, and then it was just like Avatar. After that was terrible. I loved that cartoon, loved it. I'd rewatch it again today. To go into that movie and like they just changed names and stuff, and it's bad. Mm-hmm. So but I'm with you. Like I liked Split. I haven't seen the other ones because I've been too scared to, not of what will happen, but because I think I'm gonna hate it. So well, I'm glad you got to go see this movie. I'm sorry it sucked. I'm glad Batista didn't.
Yeah, amen. Yeah, no, there's no doubt that M. Night's his work has been super polarizing over the years. Speaking of polarizing, though, Brad, we have some AEW Dynamite to discuss. Let's go ahead and cue up our music there, too.
And now, it's time to talk AEW.
So, launching into it, Brad, big week for us AEW-wise. I don't know about you, man, but last week's Dynamite was kind of meh for me.
It sucked. Just say it, Tyler.
It's It's been a trend now for a few weeks of being really hit or miss for the fan base. Rampage had a nice card. The Limitless one, Keith Lee, is back, which excites us.
A lot of returns.
A lot of returns. But the time has finally arrived. So I think rather than a traditional my question, your question format, I want to talk about AEW heading to the Valley this week. That's right. Dynamite will be in Phoenix, and we will be there. Brad, here are the announced matches. Saraya versus Sky Blue, Orange Cassidy versus Wheeler Yuta, The Acclaimed versus Big Bill and Lee Moriarty. We have a tag team battle royale to declare the next team that will be in the title match at Revolution. And it's been announced that Repetitive City. It's been announced that we are going to have an announcement, a major announcement from Tony Khan this week in front of all of us.
An important
announcement in front of all of us here in the desert. How are you feeling as we prepare for our big week?
I'm excited that we're probably going to be getting more people that we want to see. I have a feeling we're going to get at least one more return. The important announcement is probably going to be either a media rights announcement or a Ring of Honor streaming announcement, something to that effect. I feel like that's what it's going to be. Or it's going to be, we've just signed Jay White, or it's going to be, or maybe Will Ospreay comes out or something. I don't know. I don't think that's going to happen for another year.
Speaking it into existence. You're going to have your jacket, yeah?
Yeah, probably. Okay. Probably. Okay.
Manifest this.
Well, we'll see what the temps look like. It's already warming up.
50% chance of rain, 57 degrees as a high. I got you.
Oh, all right. Jackets happen.
Bring the jacket, my man.
I'll have the Pink Acclaim shirt underneath and the Will Ospreay jacket. He's not going to show up now. I don't know what the announcement's going to be. Maybe it's going to be, hey, everybody, Forbidden Door 2 happening in June. Maybe that's what the announcement is. We've just confirmed it. We will have Jamie Hayter versus Mercedes Moné. I don't know what the hell it's going to be. But I'm pumped. I can't wait to see all these talent live. I can't wait to pop for music. I can't wait to see how other people react. I can't wait to go to scoop some merch. Hopefully they have some. I've heard that that's been a dilemma for AEW live events, just not having things to sell. And since this is the first time they've been in the Valley or in the state, like they're probably going to have to stock up. So I anticipate spending some money there, and I don't know what that'll look like yet, but I know I'm getting the Oh Scissor Me Daddy shirt if it's available, and then probably a hoodie. I'm probably going to spend some money on a hoodie. Tyler, Jess is still using my FTR hoodie that she got me for Christmas.
We'd love to see it.
If I got to go out there and buy an I'm a Poor hoodie from MJF, I will.
I saw your tweet. You're into that one. You like that?
I just think it's great. It looks comfortable and it's funny. Like, self-depreciating humor. That's kind of my thing. Yeah. So
I would imagine we'll see MJF as well on one.
MJF will be there. He'll probably say something about something derogatory toward Phoenix being part of Arizona, which is a garbage state, or who knows.
You can't call us Hicks though. I hope not all of us.
No, but he'll probably say something about, do you think he goes all the way low? Do you think he goes immigration? I'm a little worried about that.
Yeah.
I'm a little worried about that. Maybe he does it when they're not recording, but I don't think he will. He didn't do it in Texas. So
I think you got to, I mean, obviously he seems like a good dude outside of the character. I think you definitely got to walk a fine line though. There,
yeah.
For sure.
Like, I think he's definitely like real life selfish. I think that's a thing. Probably conceited, but he also cares about the plight of others. Even if he doesn't outwardly say that stuff. He's always going to do what's best for MJF, but I also think that he cares about those other things. And if he ever saw this or heard this, he'd also tell us that he doesn't, and then probably roast us both. I'm excited to see that. There's a couple people that I don't know if we'll get a chance to meet that are in the kind of the wrestling media circle that hopefully we'll be able to meet up with for a minute or two. And I'm pumped to see what an AEW event looks like live, because we know what a WWE event looks like live. I do at least a house show, and you've been to other events. So it'll be good to get your comparison of like what the production's like and how the night goes. I'm pumped. Like after that, it'll be New Japan, and I'll have to check out a New Japan promotion at some point.
Yeah, and we got the new set for Dynamite and Rampage, as opposed to prior to like December of last year. Lots to look forward to. Shout out to George Romero, friend
Yes.
and former guest on GI. We'll be going with him. My pops will be there. Maybe, like you said, a few other familiar faces. It should be a glorious, glorious time, man. I'm eager to see what the Rampage matches are. Like you said, definitely most likely going to get MJF. I would imagine we'll see Britt Baker, Jamie Hayter. I know Darby Allin and Sting, I believe, are still on the promo poster.
Yeah.
So if they're on the poster at this point, I would think we're definitely going to see them. I cannot wait to see Orange Cassidy in a live environment.
Yep.
I think that's going to rule.
I can't wait to chant "He's got pulp."
Yes.
I'm looking forward to it.
I'm just really hopeful that the audience will bring it, and our enthusiasm, our excitement will translate onto the screen.
I think so. I think it'll be good. One of the things that I didn't think was good, we got to talk about this. This is another thing that is going to get buried in the weekend because of all the Sammy stuff. We got to talk about Tony and Ariel Helwani. We have to talk about this. So I want your perspective. I want to give you mine, and then I want to hear your perspective, person who studies journalism, or at least studied. I don't know if you currently are getting the journals that are published about how to be a journalist, but so Ariel Helwani, incredible media person, journalist. I actually respect him and really admire his work. I was not familiar with it because I don't care about the UFC whatsoever, but I got familiar with it because of the Dan Le Batard show. He would be on there frequently when he was with ESPN, and even has been on there a lot since leaving and doing his own thing. And I respect that. I respect him. What happened to him getting basically blacklisted from the UFC because he was asking the difficult questions. Wrestling is not sports. I have a really hard time saying we can cover wrestling like a sport when it's very obviously a scripted sporting event. It is a sport, but you can't cover it like a sport. You can't be like, what was your decision making when you decided to do these moves? It's like, well, you sat in the back and talked about it. Like, that was my decision making. It's not the same. It's just not the same thing. It's like asking Bradley Cooper what his decision making was to shoot all those bad guys in Guardians of the Galaxy when he was a raccoon. Like, it doesn't make a lot of sense to me. At the same time, if you're going to have personnel on your show to interview them, and it's going to be across wrestling promotions, and I know Tony Khan basically said, you can ask me, but I'm not going to tell you, over and over and over again in his interview, because he was asking about CM Punk and all of those questions. He's like, I can't. Like, he's going to get his ass sued for that. And then doing stuff with Triple H, and then burying Tony Khan publicly about being a bad interview when it's like you're asking him stuff you can't answer, and then not pressing WWE people on the Vince stuff at the same time, and then saying I'm unbiased, but doing voiceover work and in crowd. It's not reporting. He's just live in the crowd. It can't be reporting. It's a scripted show. You are doing a bit. You are doing a segment. So I don't think it's fair to throw Ariel under the bus for his reporting at a WWE event. I also think it's totally fair to question his bias when he's reporting on other professional wrestling events. My takeaway was, if you have a question about his credibility because of actions he's taken, then he doesn't have any, not in that space. And I think that's okay. It's professional wrestling. He's not covering the MMA there. I don't have any questions about his credibility covering sports, but I can't say that he can fairly cover professional wrestling anymore if he's going to be part of a promotion. What say you about all of this?
Yeah, well said, especially that last part. On one hand, like you said, Ariel's work has been one that I've consumed and thought pretty top tier. He's been very forthright about Nick Khan being his former agent. I've heard Ariel on the Bill Simmons podcast talk about most notably MMA, UFC, some wrestling talk, etc. And he's always been forthright about his existing relationship with Nick Khan. That being said, exactly to your point, Brad, Helwani mentioned that his interview with Tony Khan was the worst interview he's conducted of his career. So on one hand, is it like, are you being self-deprecating, or are you taking a shot at Tony? Maybe both. But for you to have that, but then fast forward all these months later, and you are in fact reporting from the crowd in Canada, which obviously Canada means a lot to you, but you're reporting from the crowd, and in your interview with Triple H, you're kind of accused of throwing some softball. I don't know if this is, I'm not going to use the softball analogy. You're accused, we're leaving that behind. You're accused of giving him questions that are kind of a layup, as opposed to you grilling Tony Khan in that interview. It's a clear contrast. And to your point, I did study journalism when I went to school, and being unbiased was at the top of the expectations, right? You are a reporter for the people. You are there to seek truth and to not do harm to communities. That is your role. In terms of being unbiased, it would seem that Ariel is not checking that box for us. And if you're with WWE, if you are kind of akin to the Sam Roberts and Peter Rosenbergs of the world, that's okay. But then you gotta give us that persona instead of saying you're unbiased. And by the way, Tony Khan's a jerk and didn't give me answers. But my interview with Triple H was super melancholy and just a great experience. Not a good look for him. I'm not totally out on him by any means. Again, I tend to enjoy his work. And I think what he did over the last week for Sami Zayn and that storyline was really good. Like you said, the narration, the in-crowd work, really good. But moving forward, I do have a bit of a different perception of him as a journalist in that regard.
Yeah, and I think we can't undersell that he's from Montreal, and
it's a big
being
deal,
a Montrealer, right? It's like you're there, you're getting to live a dream. If I had that opportunity, I'd take it too. Like, I don't begrudge him doing any of that stuff,
No.
But you were also the one that shot down the Saudi sale rumors. So how did you get that information? And you were the one that had that interview all set up. Like, you interviewed Tony Khan on Zoom. You sat down and flew to London to interview Triple H.
Great point.
In an office building, which was set up and filmed with good high quality cameras and all this stuff. And why are you covering them differently? And if you're covering them differently and you're asking the questions a different way, that in and of itself is bias. I don't care if you're doing it on purpose or not. It's biased. So, like, I would just say, just stay out of the wrestling thing and you're fine. But you know what's going to be the first thing he addresses when he goes and does his show this week, after calling Tony Khan a snowman, in his unbiased journalistic take, is accusing him of doing cocaine. And after Tony Khan just basically called him a fraud for what it looks like. Now, I'm not going to go that far and say that he deserved that. I think TK should have just kept his mouth shut. But I don't. If I were him, I'd be upset too. Like, you're gonna do this thing and say that me and my company are unprofessional because I wouldn't answer these things and all of this stuff, or imply that it's unprofessional, I should say, and then go on and be a part of the competitor. It's not even like just show up and I'm reporting live from this place and you're doing a separate thing. No, you're part of the show. You are specific. You did the voiceover stuff for Sammy in Montreal because you love Montreal, understand how much it means. You were part of the pre-show commentary. Then you did the stuff from the crowd. Like, you've been all over this product and you are very clearly a part of that product. That interview was tweeted out by WWE Network or retweeted. Like, it's not a good look. And while Tony does these things where I agree with him, and why did you do that? Like, I totally understand his perspective, but it's the same thing as the swole stuff. Didn't need to say it, dude. Didn't need to come out of your mouth. Even if you were right, you didn't need to say it. And in this case, I think I'm more on Ariel's side on this than I am on Tony's. Tony shouldn't have said anything and it all probably would have blown over, but instead it's a really bad look for kind of everybody involved.
Yeah. And we all have our flaws. It would seem that one of Tony Khan's imperfections, like a lot of us, is you get emotional, you get in your feelings, and then those Twitter thumbs or those Twitter fingers become extra strong. And it's like, oh man, this is the classic. How about just sit on it for a night?
Yeah.
Or save it in the drafts, Brad. We've all been there. Save it in the drafts and then come back to it the next day. And it would seem that maybe TK doesn't do that. And thus, as we've seen on a few different occasions, kind of gets himself in some hot water, so to speak.
Yeah. Well, speaking of being in our feelings, Tyler, let's hear about Zach's feelings as you deliver us another rose from Tyler. Play the music.
And now, for a rose from GI's most eligible bachelor.
It's a great transition. I appreciate you. Zach and the women of this season were in the Bahamas last week. I hate to break the news to you, my dude. Anastasia was eliminated.
Yes,
She and Kylie got into an argument. I think I actually tweeted you about this, so this is maybe not shocking news. Anastasia was accused of being on the show simply to up her Instagram followers and fame. Not a new accusation on the show, but Zach got freaked out and sent her packing.
I'm glad I called her Anastasia for so many.
As did I.
Yes, yeah.
As did I. Yeah. Anastasia. And now we learned her name, her correct pronunciation, and now she's gone. Fortunately, though, you still have Mercedes, and they all are heading to London this week. So Bahamas last week, California to start the season, Bahamas last week, London this week. Here's my tie back, though, Brad. You and Jess have been together for many wonderful years. 5.5 years ago, I got this confirmed from the direct source before we recorded. 5.5 years ago, you two added a little bundle of joy, not so little anymore, named Freya.
Mm-hmm.
I'm curious, what's it like planning trips as a couple since welcoming a child into the world? For example, on one hand, I think it's more complicated because you have to organize snacks, diapers, etc. However, when you and Jess go anywhere with Freya, you know the pop will be massive because she's just so cute. Your thoughts, good sir?
Planning trips. Well, that's easy. We don't do that.
End of the segment. Okay, what we're looking forward to this week?
Really, in reality, we've done a couple. It was easier when she was a baby and harder when she was a baby. With a baby, it's like feed it, de-poop it, get it to sleep. It's like having a really complicated plant. With a little person that can think and talk and have fits and have laughs and can communicate but can't understand. Those are the more complicated ones. It's like, yes, Freya knows that Jess is in a meeting, but she doesn't understand what that means. So she's like, okay, you're in a meeting. Got it. I'm going to go over there and start interrupting the meeting anyway. Not understanding the importance of it or the decorum or any of those things. That's really difficult. So traveling when it's like, I'm going to be a picky eater is really difficult. And at the same time, it's a lot of fun. So last year we did it. Last year we did it twice, unfortunately. The first time was a more positive event. It was see family, go tour the UP before Jess's parents moved out here, and Jess's mom and stepdad, and say goodbye to her past stepdad who passed away when she was 11 before they moved out. And the second time was for a funeral of somebody who passed while they were out here, which was tough. Both of those trips were challenging in their own rights. I can tell you that it's a blast. It is difficult. It is worthwhile, and it is awful all at the same time, because it becomes more about the reason it's easier is it becomes more about the how can we make her happy than about how can we make us happy. But at the same time, it's difficult because it's like maybe that restaurant we want to go to, if they don't have anything there for her, we can't go. If it's going to be a long wait, we shouldn't go. It's stuff like that makes it so much more challenging. Because it's like, all right, we're going to end up eating crappy fast food instead of going to this. We're in San Diego and there's this restaurant that has fresh fish, but they don't have plain cheese pizza with no sauce.
Or Cheerios on the menu.
Cheerios she would probably be unhappy with, to be honest with you. She'll eat them occasionally, but that's more of a toddler gimmick. If she had string cheese and fruit snacks, she'd probably be set. Maybe an Uncrustable or something, but yeah, it can be challenging.
Wow. Well, thank you for sharing that. Brad, what are you looking forward to this week?
Rodeo Break. And to kick off Rodeo Break, the thing that we have been waiting for years, Tyler, AEW in Phoenix. That's what I'm looking forward to.
Yeah, man. You know I have a similar answer here. AEW is at the top of my list. No Rodeo Break on my end, but super stoked for you. Can't wait to see you and George and company on Wednesday.
Yeah, it's going to be great.
Obviously, yeah, absolutely. Safe travels getting here. I think it's going to be amazing and wonderful, and all the words, all the adjectives. I will say that I am also eager to see what our beloved Phoenix Suns do this week.
Yeah.
So Kevin Durant is officially a Phoenix Sun. Yeah, thank you. If you go to gimmickinfringementpod.com, you will find a plethora of articles from Brad, myself, and the occasional guest. I happen to have a recent article up there on the Kevin Durant trade, what it means to me, what it means to the Suns fan base, as well as answering the question, who is Kevin Durant's pro wrestling equivalent? So I really encourage you to check it out. I can't wait to see what happens with the franchise as we get closer to the playoffs. And finally, this is becoming like a plug for me, Brad. Finally, I do want to give a shout out. I totally omitted this last week by accident. Huge shout out to Mo, fellow member and co-owner of 19 Media Group. He was kind enough to welcome me on to his platform, Hip Hop Hidden Gems with Willie Freeman. I was able to have an episode all by myself in which I just got to glow over my love for Lupe Fiasco's song Kick Push. So if you haven't checked out Hip Hop Hidden Gems, would definitely encourage you to. Mo and Willie are wonderful, and I just want to thank them once again for having me on. Brad, it's going to be a great week, man. I get to see you. I don't even remember the last time I saw you.
July.
Was it July?
Yeah.
For the house show.
It's been a long time.
I see you on a screen every week.
It doesn't feel like it's been that long, but in person, it's been a long time. It's been a really long time.
It's July.
And I'm looking at the schedule right now, and I know, like, also on top of your son's love, I imagine you'll be there Sunday, May 21st, live for tip off for the first home game of the Phoenix Mercury.
Let's go.
Now that they have Tarasi and Griner back on the roster, confirmed.
Yes.
Yeah, going to be a fun year for Phoenix Hoops, I think.
Absolutely, man. Can't wait for all that. Can't wait to see you this week. And again, just want to thank you all so much for being here, for supporting what we do. I know we went long this time, so if you are hearing this, if you are seeing us, so appreciate you hanging. You can follow Brad on Twitter at WinDuster. You can follow me at Tyler J. McDowell. And of course, you can follow us at GIPod19. Gimmick Infringement is a part of 19 Media Group. You can listen to us on Good Pods, our premier partners, and Apple, Spotify, iHeartRadio, or wherever you find podcasts. You can also find us on YouTube via the 19 Media Group channel. Please like, subscribe, comment, and share.